Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for everyone who's joining us. I know folks are still filing in, so we're going to wait a few minutes just for everyone to be able to connect, and then we'll get started shortly. Thank you so much for your patience, and we're looking forward to a good, productive conversation about the next steps for the Pacific Palisades in regards to the PCH and security and access for the community. So thank you for joining us. And as we're waiting to get started, if you have any questions, we are using the Q&A function on the Zoom, so you may start typing in questions there. And once we get to the Q&A section, we'll start drawing from those in order to ensure that our panelists here can get a wide range of questions, get you all answers. So thank you so much.
Microphone check. This is Commander Tom.
Thank you for joining us, Commander Tom. We can hear you.
Microphone check.
All right, we are at 4:10, so we are going to go ahead and get started. I just wanted to start off by acknowledging we have got a great panel here with us today. We are so pleased to be joined by Mayor Karen Bass and representatives from Caltrans, LAPD, EMD, CHP, Cal OES, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and the Governor's Office. My name is Jake Berman. I am the Senior Advisor to Councilwoman Tracy Park, and unfortunately, the Councilwoman is currently on the council floor. They are working through approving the city budget, and she has let me know that she does not want you all to have to wait for that process to continue to unfold. And so we wanted to just go ahead and get started. So I'm going to be reading through some of her opening remarks on her behalf, and then we'll continue with our program. So thank you so much for bearing with us, and just really happy to be able to have you all with us to get this information out. So first of all, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for some important updates on the new developments in and around Pacific Palisades and PCH access and security. Proud to bring together CD11 partners, including the many that I just listed, in order to get you information and answer your questions. So most of us are relieved that the PCH will be ready to reopen tomorrow ahead of this holiday weekend, and we're grateful for the hard work that went into getting ready to reopen in time for Memorial Day. Due to the closures, businesses up and down PCH are dying on the vine, and residents have to commute, sometimes for hours, just to get to work or to doctor's appointments. But as PCH reopens, I am sensitive to the fact that many of you are concerned about what that means for access and security in and around the Palisades. More than 1,700 of you responded to our security survey, and I want to thank you for those who have. We saw many themes repeat themselves: fear of squatters, fear of burglaries, fear of that resemble what we see coming out of Altadena, worries about the lack of streetlights, and so many standing homes that remain unoccupied. And I recognize your concerns aren't theoretical. Many of you have reached out with ring videos of thieves and vandals, and we have had 2 major arrests in just the last week. And that's something the councilman, takes very seriously. And we're so glad that we have the great partners of LAPD and California Highway Patrol working diligently to apprehend those suspects and any others. We are working diligently with all of our partners assembled on this call to ensure we can reopen the PCH while still maintaining our secure perimeter around the Palisades as the recovery and rebuilding efforts continue. And you'll hear more details of that during this call. This has been a priority that I have heard from you since the beginning of this tragedy, and one that I nor our partners have ever backed away from. I want to thank the governor for his partnership in ensuring that our city could have the resources needed to maintain the security for our devastated community and to supplement our local resources. I also want to thank Mayor Bass for her commitment to this community and for her work alongside the councilwoman and the Palisades community to continue to deliver recovery and rebuilding effort that has our community centered and at the table. There's still so much more ahead, and this situation will remain fluid, so please continue to stay engaged, involved, and on top of new developments so that we can continue to work together to build back better. As your councilwoman, Councilwoman Tracy Park is working very hard to ensure that this recovery is as consistent and as efficient as possible. And also, as chair of the city's ad hoc committee on recovery, she is committed to being with you every step of the way, and she remains unwavering in her dedication to doing this right and seeing it through. Lastly, she just wants to express a big thank you to all of you, our community members and stakeholders, for your strength, your patience, and your constant communication and feedback to ensure we are working together and we'll get this done right. So without further ado, we'll now turn the floor over to our mayor, Karen Bass, who will be sharing a more detailed update on what the Palisades security and access plan will look like with the PCH reopening. So, Madam Mayor, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that report, and I want you all to know that the councilwoman is a few feet away from me on the floor of the council, and she's fighting the good fight. And the good fight she is fighting is to make sure that we hire the appropriate number of police officers for a city of 3.8 million, and that we preserve funding for the fire department. So as always, she's doing the work on behalf of our city in general, but most certainly on your behalf. So let me just start by thanking the administration, because frankly, if it wasn't for the administration, we wouldn't be where we are now in terms of the recovery. The fact that we believe that the debris removal will even be finished by the end of July. Over 2,000 lots have been cleared. And of course, we also want to thank the governor for extending well beyond what is normal the National Guard. But we all know that tomorrow at 8 a.m., PCH will reopen in time for the Memorial Day weekend. And it is an important step forward. But with that important step forward, of course, it raises a number of concerns. Are you able to put up the slides now? I had just about 3 slides to put up. So we know that the reopening raises concerns about access and checkpoints into the Palisades. So I want to be very, very clear with you because we know there was a little confusion yesterday. We will have a strict security plan in place, and access to the Palisades will remain restricted to residents, business owners, employees, and contractors only. We will have checkpoints, which I'll get to in a minute, but we will, in terms of where you can pick up the permits, but we will have 16 checkpoints that LAPD will be in charge of, that will be operating 24 hours a day. But the checkpoints will move off of PCH onto the arterial streets. I've directed LAPD to continue its increased deployment in the Palisades, including staffing all the checkpoints and patrolling neighborhoods 24 hours a day with more than 100 officers. And all of you know how many officers were typically in the Palisades before the disaster. So that's a very, very high deployment. It's actually higher than it is right now. We could go to the next slide. So while the LAPD is manning the checkpoints, the California Highway Patrol will be patrolling and doing crime suppression. We certainly want there to be the private security, and there'll be some time to ramp up in order to get private security there. CHP will also continue to monitor PCH, and there'll be 7 CHP officers responsible for PCH. So I want to note that in terms of the access passes, that will continue at the Disaster Recovery Center located on Pico Boulevard in Westwood, the UCLA Research Park, and that will go until Friday, May 30th. So that will last for another week. But after that, the Disaster Recovery Center will essentially close because the number of people coming now has dwindled out. You should know that close to 10,000 people have been through that site. You can go to the next slide. So we will determine a new location after the 30th. We're going back and forth between 2 locations, but we will let you know about those locations. And then passes can be picked up at the same hour as people have been doing between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. And so nothing else in the process has changed. You'll still need to provide your ID, proof of residency, business ownership, or employment. And so those are how we will continue to move ahead. And I just want to say that, we do all have a shared goal. We go back and forth. I know that there are residents that would like to see the checkpoints going away and Palisades being fully reopened. And there are plenty of residents that do not want to see that at all. And I know that concerns are even increasing as rebuilding starts, because a problem that we face all over the city is theft of construction materials. And so the needs might change once construction is underway. And I know construction's already underway. I was at a property on Monday that I went to 3 weeks ago where construction had started. And on Monday, the frame for the house was already up. And to me, when I drive through the Palisades and I see the lots cleared, it shows that we're moving forward, and we want to keep that going, and we want the rebuilding to happen as soon as possible. And so I wanted you to know that. And then if it's okay, I know we have a representative of LAPD on who might share a few words as well. Who's that? Assistant Chief Choi is on. And he can add more to the details in terms of how security will be. So your security will be maintained. PCH is opening up, but as I mentioned, the arterial streets into the Palisades will be well protected 24 hours a day. So with that, if I could pass it over to Assistant Chief Choi, it would be great.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. And good afternoon, everyone. So today I have on the call is my team from Westfield, Deputy Chief Gerald Woodard, as well as Commander John Tom. And then I think I have Commander Steve Embrook, who's been working the command post since the beginning of the fires. As the mayor said, we're going to have 16 traffic control points. Currently, there are 5 because PCH closed to the public. When it does reopen, it's going to open up all these arterial streets, causing us to open up 11 other streets. So LAPD will be staffing all those intersections, not the National Guard, as of 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. We will stay there 24 hours a day. On top of that deployment, we're supplemented by CHP's assistance, also continuing to help us in our our crime suppression efforts. We've also added a layer of private security. So what we're going to do starting tomorrow, we're going to start adding private security patrols in the Palisades. This will take about a week to a week and a half, and we're going to build that up to 3 9-hour shifts, total of 48 private security officers patrolling those areas. Now, these individuals will obviously call us in case of an emergency, but they can do a lot for the safety and security of the communities. And the eyes and ears that we need you guys to be for us, they will also be for us, but they'll be highly visible. So that is kind of our layered approach. And we'll be deploying, as the mayor said, well over 100 officers every 24 hours. I think it's closer to about 130 officers every 24 hours in that area. We'll maintain our command post at the beach. And I think that is it. I just want to make sure that this community knows that we are not leaving. We are not abandoning you. We understand this is unusual activity, a lot of construction, a lot of opportunities for criminals, and we are going to stay on top of it. We obviously know we're using technology as well as our automated license plate readers and other sorts of technology to ensure your safety. And if something does occur, that we can have a quick and swift response to address those issues. That is our safety plan for your community. I think, I don't know how you want to open it up to questions, or you can put it in the chat and we'll answer them as they come up.
Thank you, Chief Choi, for your remarks and for your leadership throughout all of this. It's very much appreciated for your partnership with our office and just with this whole community that has been in need. So thank you. So before we move on to the Q&A, which again, if you have questions, please feel free to put it in the Q&A function in the Zoom, and our team will start pulling out questions once we get to the Q&A, and I will read them and direct them to the appropriate member of our panel. But before that, we have one last presentation from Caltrans that's just going to give a brief update on what to expect on PCH once it reopens tomorrow. So I will now kick it over to Nathan with Caltrans. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, and thank you for the information, Assistant Chief and Madam Mayor. So we are very excited to announce that Pacific Coast Highway in the Palisades burn scar area up to Malibu will be opening tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. There will be 2 lanes open in each direction. It's important to remind motorists that it's an active construction zone. So please slow down and be aware that there will be active recovery workers and possibly emergency personnel alongside you. So please slow down and mind the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit that's observed in the stretch of road now. Please also know that all of the intersections will be signalized, and there will be flashing red lights at Big Rock Drive and La Costa Beach Club to allow for left turns and pedestrian crossings across the highway. And also keep in mind that the California Highway Patrol will be patrolling the stretch of the highway, and fines could be doubled because of the location inside of an active work zone. So I think that's all I have to share. Aside from, I also should share that southbound Pacific Coast Highway will be closed. One lane of the southbound Pacific Coast Highway will be closed daily from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. To allow for some utility work and removal of debris. So if you're coming from the Malibu area, please keep in mind that from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., there will be a lane reduction down to 1 lane in the southbound direction.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nathan, for that update and for your and Caltrans' work on getting us to the point where we can reopen PCH as quickly as it has been. So thank you. So with that said, we are at 4:25, so we're planning on going till 5. That leaves us with 35 minutes to ask questions, and answer questions, which is incredible. We're going to try to get through as many as we can, and I want to thank our panelists for staying on, and I will start going through our questions that we're seeing in the Q&A and then directing them to a member of our panel to answer. So while we get started, if you could just bear with me for 1 second. Let's start with an easy one for Caltrans, which is what is the official opening date time of PCH?
It'll be open tomorrow morning, so Friday, May 23rd at 8 in the morning.
Thank you so much. And so we have folks who are asking about the signals running in normal versus flashing. Is it going to change at all along PCH between the tunnel and Topanga? I know you mentioned that might be still flashing. Is that the case?
There will be flashing red lights at Big Rock Drive and La Costa Beach Club. Those are the two signals that will be flashing red. There were previously more planned, but at this time it's only the two that are past Topanga Canyon Boulevard on the way to Malibu.
Thank you. And then next I'm going to go over to LAPD because we have some questions about the new checkpoint configuration. So we have some folks asking about the passes. And once this all changes, are the passes going to still be valid? Existing passes, that is.
Yes, I'm sorry, Dominic Cho here. The existing passes will be valid, and we're going to use them just so as we have been throughout this event. So if you have them, keep them. If you don't have one, you need to go get one.
And I'm just going to go through a few of these kind of checkpoint questions with you right now, Chief. So some folks that are contractors are asking, is there going to be any difference of what to expect when approaching the checkpoints once this change occurs?
No, so so every morning our officers are going to meet at staging. They get briefed by our incident commanders who have been briefing National Guard this whole time. So the directions given every day are going to be consistent and the same in how they're evaluating and reviewing passes. So nothing will change.
And as the mayor said also, once the DRC shuts down, we will be announcing within the next few days when or where the new pass distribution site will be, but it will be in the west side. So hopefully it'll be closer, more convenient for everyone. This is a question for Mayor Bass or her team. What is the timeline for AI plan check being implemented? This is coming from someone on the Alphabet Streets.
Jacob, you're muted.
I can also come back to this one. Jenny, I don't know if you can.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Jenny Delwood, Deputy Chief of Staff to Mayor Bass. The AI plan check is underway. We don't have an exact timeline to share right this moment because we're still going through some of the finalization and approvals here in the city, including some approvals through the City Council. But as soon as we have that information, we'll make sure to get it out through the Council office and to all of you.
Thanks so much, Jenny. All right. Sorry, there's so many questions coming in, so I want to make sure that we're getting through as many of them as we can and that we're asking a wide range of questions. So one of the questions here is, please explain how opening the Palisades will not cause gridlock and potential liabilities for unfenced properties. And I think that's a really good question because I want to make sure that the clarification is clear that we are not reopening the Pacific Palisades community, that security perimeter will still be in place, including the checkpoints. The only thing that will be reopening to the general public will be the PCH. And so that, and as the mayor and Assistant Chief Choi has said, that is why the shift is occurring in the number of checkpoints, is to be able to ensure that the Palisades community remains secure and the access points remain secure as well. So thank you for the question, so we could just make sure that that's clear for everyone. And also for folks who are just joining us, because I see there are some questions about where Councilwoman Park is. My name is Jacob Berman again. I'm Councilwoman Park's senior advisor. Councilwoman is actually still on the city council floor, as they are working to going line by line approving the city budget process. So she will be joining us as soon as she can, but she wanted to make sure that we can maximize the time we have together to get you as much information as possible. So with that being said, let's see what we have here. So some more questions for LAPD. Does the new trespass arrest authorization mean that the police will not arrest trespassers without that form?
So for trespass authorization, we have to have a trespass authorization for private property on file. So we do need to have that form. If there's any criminal behavior beyond that, then obviously we can enforce that. But just a straight trespass, if somebody's walking through your lot or something like that, we do have to have a no trespass on file.
Absolutely. And if that is not on file, and an individual, sees someone on the Ring camera or something like that, that shouldn't be on their property, and they call 911, what can be done?
We will still respond, and then if we look at that person, question that person to see what the reason is, and we'll do an investigation, preliminary investigation, to determine if there's any crime. That just because you don't have a trespass authorization on file doesn't mean you shouldn't call the police. I think we all know what suspicious activity looks like to us. If it's there, call us, we'll respond and figure it out.
Thank you so much. And Chief, can you just reiterate the deployment of LAPD both in the checkpoints and throughout the Palisades patrolling for our audience here?
Yeah, so we have approximately 130 officers every 24 hours at the checkpoints, the command post, and the Palisades. Also supplemented approximately by about 30 CHP officers every 24 hours in crime suppression mode in the Palisades. Those are obviously split up into A Watch and B Watch, or two different shifts. And then you're going to be layered with up to 48 private security officers on patrol, being our additional eyes and ears for the Palisades. And then you're going to have numerous, about 50 automated license plate readers spread out throughout the Palisades. So significant, robust response to ensure that crime is stopped, prevented, and if it does happen, that we can capture the person that did the crime.
Thank you so much. And looking through here. So Colonel Palazzini, have a few questions about the current recovery efforts. So mind if you hop in here. So would you mind talking to what the time frame is looking like for the lot clearance process?
Yeah, you're talking specific lots, like individual lots?
Just what the progress has been and what your estimated time frame is looking like for completion on a conservative
Yeah,
side.
sure. Yeah, so we've completed about 60% of the of all of the debris clearance in the Palisades fire impacted area. If we're talking specific lots, each lot is a little different depending on size and complexity. We remove the debris, we place the erosion control, there's a final inspection, and then the final inspection packet goes back to the county, who then also inspects it, and the county then provides a final packet to the homeowner. So that does take some time, but we have completed over 2,500 of them already, and there's about 1,500 or so left, somewhere in between actual debris clearance, and final packet approval.
Thank you so much, Colonel. And I think there were a couple of other questions for you. One of them being, there's still some folks who are concerned about dust and chemical contamination of the air. Can you talk a little bit about your process for, remediating that and mitigating any risks to the environment and to humans that are out in the Palisades?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the past 2 or 2.5 months that we've been doing debris clearance, we've had robust air quality measures in place. We have live reporting to Southern California AQMD. Every debris clearance operation has significant water on site. And so using the wet method of clearance, all of the debris, all of the dust gets covered either with a mister or direct hose to keep particles from becoming airborne. We keep it nice and wet. And then anyone operating within the ash footprint does have masks on and Tyvek suits to keep them personally safe. We also have personal monitors on our workers throughout the impact area. Those get monitored every day by a certified industrial hygienist to make sure they've not been exposed to any elevated particle intake, and we've had no issues so far.
Thank you, Colonel. And so one question, I'm going to move over to someone else, but thank you so much for those. I'm going to have Jenny join me on the spotlight here. And so we are getting a number of questions about the specific locations for these new checkpoints and just what that's going to look like. So Jenny, would you mind just kind of clarifying some of that? And I think you have a slide you shared with me that I can share. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes. So thanks to our leadership team at the LAPD. This map was provided by them. These are the locations of the checkpoints or traffic control points. Now, I saw a number of questions in the chat about how are we going to have 16 checkpoints in an 11-mile stretch. So I want to clarify. These are not checkpoints that are on PCH. These are checkpoints that are going to be on the streets going into the Palisades neighborhoods. So PCH will be free flowing. It'll still be relatively slow at 25 miles per hour as the speed limit. However, there will not be checkpoints on PCH itself. So I want to make sure folks are clear about that. The idea of these checkpoints is that they will be designed to limit access to the Palisades, protecting property and livelihood, making sure that folks are safe in the neighborhood, but really going up into the area that is residential. And some limited commercial as well, but limiting access to the Palisades neighborhoods versus PCH itself. As you can see, there are a couple of check marks there on the screen as well on the right-hand side. Those are existing checkpoints, and those checkpoints will be moved off PCH and moved into the neighborhoods as well. But those checkpoints are where the current checkpoints exist into the Palisades, and the red X's denote the new checkpoints. Again, making sure that we're opening PCH while protecting the neighborhoods and the safety of the residents and the business owners.
Thank you so much, Jenny. I think that a lot of questions about that, so we appreciate the explanation and the visual for folks. I'll leave that up for a little bit just so folks can take a look. While we do that, I'll keep going with some questions, and I think this one will probably be back to the Army Corps. Will Temescal Canyon Road be open to residents and contractors, and under what usage? And will there be, Colonel, I believe that's something you could answer, is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Temescal is still closed. We have our temporary debris staging and recycling site there still set up on Temescal. It's a really important part of our ability to complete the rest of the debris clearance. We use that site to crush the concrete. It eliminates or decreases the number of trucks that are on the road. It decreases the emissions that are occurring and allows us to haul more concrete since it's crushed, and also to bale the metal and recycle that. And so as long as we are completing our debris removal mission, we'll likely have that set up on Temescal Canyon. The good news is that at about 60% complete, we are moving really quickly. It's an historic pace. It's an extremely safe pace, and so we will be complete with our debris removal mission soon.
And just to maybe put a finer point on this, because Temescal Canyon Road shows up as a checkpoint, that is not a checkpoint that folks can enter from at this time. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a great point. That's actually a road closure. There's no way to get through on Temescal Canyon Road.
Perfect. And so that checkpoint is just there to make sure that folks are not entering when they're because it is still actively being used for the debris removal processing.
Absolutely right.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to go back to LAPD because we have some questions about different communities and not just the checkpoints, but the patrolling that will be done. And so if our LAPD partners could talk a little bit about what that patrolling throughout the neighborhoods will look like. And there are a number of different communities, of course, throughout the Palisades, which is a far-reaching space that want to have assurance that LAPD patrols will not be focused only in one area, but will be throughout all the communities of the Palisades.
Absolutely. I'll take this on this one. My name is Gerald Woodyard. I'm the Deputy Chief of Operations West Bureau. And first and foremost, I want to thank the Mayor, Mayor Bass, Councilwoman Park, for the continued support of LAPD, the community, and just really the community's voice being heard. As the Chief Choi, Assistant Chief Choi indicated, we are not abandoning the area. And what we've done through the IMT, they've identified 5 sectors that we will have patrol assets within those sectors to make sure that the community feels safe. It's going to be high visibility patrol, as well as being proactive within those communities. And of course, they're going to do their job, keeping in mind that they're going to do their job the right way within those communities. So with the game plan, CHP is going to be doing crime suppression within the Palisades area, and we have those pre-designated areas, 5 sectors cordoned off within those communities.
Thank you so much, Chief Woodyard. Amazing. And likewise, we're getting some of these questions that are having to do with just talking about the traffic situation at the checkpoints. And so for LAPD, is there anything that can any guidance for folks experiencing traffic as they're approaching the checkpoints? And then also if after LAPD, if Caltrans has anything to add in terms of potential efforts to make sure that there's a plan for traffic backing up at all onto PCH during the reopening. So I don't know if someone from LAPD has anything to add about just expectations and the potential for traffic at these multiple checkpoints.
Well, I would say, and I don't want to speak on behalf of the IMTs, but we've had these 16 pre-identified checkpoints that are going to be in the community. I would anticipate at least initially there may be an issue with some congestion because again, we've identified 11 additional checkpoints within the community. But with that being said, as long as they have the requisite passes that have been turned that are out in the community, I don't think there's going to be any major issues. But we are flexible in terms of how we how we work within those checkpoints. So let's see how it works initially, and then if we have to adjust, we'll make sure that we're flexible in that as well.
And thank you, Chief. And that is one of the points that the councilman has made very clear, that this entire process is going to remain very fluid for some time. And we do hope that we can continue to maintain open lines of communication with our community members. We are here for you. We're here to advocate on your behalf and ensure that this whole process is running as smoothly as possible. There are, of course, going to be some hiccups along the way. There are going to be some things that may not seem to be as efficient, but they are what might be the most safe option. And so there's always going to be that balance that is in play, but we do want to continue to hear from you all. And so please reach out to our team at Office of Councilwoman Tracy Park, and we are always happy to hear from you about how this is going and how we can improve it so that moving forward it's better for everyone involved. And I want to go over to Caltrans now to see if they have anything to add about the potential expectations for traffic, especially along checkpoints for the PCH.
I think generally we do expect there to be traffic, and if you don't need to drive on Pacific Coast Highway, think about the alternative routes that you could take. 101, US 101 will still be open to 405 freeway, and there's also public transportation options that'll be available. So I don't know the specifics about how traffic will, how that situation will play out specifically at the checkpoints, but do expect there to be backups, delays. The speed limit is limited to 25 miles per hour. And if you're moving southbound for a significant amount of the day, there will only be one lane. So just a few things to consider, but I don't have a specific estimation of what that'll look like.
Thank you so much, Nathan. So, and this question can either go to Jenny with Mayor's Office or LAPD. There are some folks asking about, because the map indicated some of the new checkpoints as well as some of the older checkpoints, and just looking for some clarity on the old checkpoints, are they remaining? And because the map did not show the full extent, including the Riviera, if there could be any explanation on what other checkpoints outside of what was on the map that could be described for the community.
I can do that for it.
You got
I
it,
got
Chief?
it. Yeah, I got it right here, Gerald. So
Okay.
the existing checkpoints right now, as of today, there's 5 of them. They're at PCH south of Entrada, they're PCH in Chautauqua, Channel east of PCH, Sunset and Amalfi, and Sunset and Brooktree. Those 5 will continue to remain in place. However, as Ms. Delwood said, we're going to move those off the main drag so they're not causing additional traffic congestion on PCH, but those checkpoints will exist. And then we're going to add 11 more checkpoints. They're the inroads that are going in from PCH into the Palisades. Those checkpoints will not be directly on PCH, but more inland as to not create additional congestion on PCH. So those are the 16 total checkpoints. So we're adding 11. There are 5 existing. I just want to reiterate one thing. Caltrans talked about it. It's just to manage expectations. This is a lifting of some restrictions on PCH. This is not a reopening of the entire PCH. And so we got to make sure that the public, the community, doesn't believe that there's going to be free flow traffic. There's going to be congestion. And I would just ask that if you don't need to be on PCH, this is not a time to get on PCH. And so I just want to make sure that we're clear on expectations. It is opening up to the public, but we're just lifting some restrictions, one way up, one way down, and it's still not going to be perfect. We still need some more time for that. So thank you.
Thank you. And Chief, while I have you on, can you talk a little bit about any of the technology that's being used as well to supplement the law enforcement presence?
Sure. The automated license plate readers, we have about 50 automated license plate readers in the Palisades area, which are on 24/7. And if we have any hits on license plates for, wanted vehicles, wanted people, wanted, for inquiry, those hits will go to our officers that are in the car or communications divisions, and calls will be broadcasted. So that's one aspect of it. We also have some other CCTV systems in the area just so we can monitor live if we need to. And also all of our police cars, we have over 1,500 police cars throughout the city, but many of them that are going to be deployed into the Palisades that have the ALPR system mobile in there with them. So there's a significant amount of technology that we've moved into the Palisades for this event.
And I think the last one for now for you, some Chief Choi, some folks are asking about the what the use and deployment of private security is going to look like once that gets kind of fleshed out further. Do you have any thoughts or details on what residents can expect that to look like, and if they are currently paying for private security, they would like to see more of that, if there's any way that they should be reaching out.
Well, so a couple things. What the private security is going to look like is just imagine if you're in your own gate, you're in a gated community, and you have private security doing patrols, whether they have the little amber light on top of their vehicle, but they're driving around just doing patrols. Again, these security officers don't have police powers, but they are our eyes and ears to enhance our presence, and even a security presence where they can call us quickly and have direct communications with us. Again, at the end of this ramp up of deployment for private security, you're going to see about 48 of them in a 24-hour period every day. Ultimately, I won't go into the funding or any of that stuff, but we are managing it right now. We're going to get them out there, and then before anything changes, this community will be informed.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
And then I want to go back to Caltrans, because there are some questions about the access to PCH from the Palisades. Is there going to be any restrictions on turning out of the Palisades onto PCH, from Sunset or anything like that? Or will there be any changes to the traffic patterns at all?
I'm not presently aware of any restrictions of exiting the Palisades onto Pacific Coast Highway. I saw a question about the traffic signal at Sunset. As far as I know, the signal will be active and operate as a normal traffic signal. It was previously flashing, but as I said before, there will only be 2 flashing traffic signals west of Topanga Canyon Boulevard.
And does Caltrans have any, strategies or extra resources in place to assist with traffic flow when it comes to areas near checkpoints that might have traffic backing up from the checkpoints onto the PCH?
I'm not sure. I don't have a comment on that. We're going to be working closely with the California Highway Patrol. Activities like stopping, walking, or riding a bike on Pacific Coast Highway will be prohibited, and California Highway Patrol will be out enforcing those restrictions to keep traffic moving along. So we're really relying on our partner agencies and agencies like LAPD to help keep things moving along. But it's going to be a headache. I wouldn't want to spend my Friday afternoon in traffic on PCH. So if you can avoid the area, I would do so.
Thank you so much. So, there are some questions as well about the pass system. Are passes able to be distributed for friends or family? For folks wanting to, who are returned to, their homes in the Palisades. I think that would be a question for.
I can answer that one, JD.
Thank you.
Hi, Jenny with Mayor Bass's office again. So in regards to friends and family, what we recommend is for family members, residents, to go and get passes for their family members, as long as you have their IDs, and you can yourself bring your ID to show your residency in some way, shape, or form, an ID or other form of residency. Then you can pick up a pass, or your friends and family can drive in your car into the Palisades. And so that's what we would recommend there. And it's a delicate thing. We know that we want to balance, of course, people being able to access the community, and then also keeping some degree of restriction based on the input that we've received from you all as community members. There's certainly been a lot of feedback we've received from community leaders, as well as residents in writing and on webinars just like this, saying we still feel like we need the checkpoints. And so that's why we still have the passes in place. I know that's not 100% of everybody in the Palisades wants to keep the checkpoints in place, but the majority of folks that we heard from certainly felt that was needed, at least at this time. So we'll continue to hear from you about how that experience is going, how that may be impacting your family, your friends, your businesses. And of course, checkpoints are not indefinite and forever. At some point, they will need to be lifted and the Palisades will be open. So we appreciate the ongoing feedback from folks about your experience related to the passes and the checkpoints. And we look forward to making a community-driven decision at the point when the community is feeling like the checkpoints are no longer needed. We will proceed with removing them.
Thanks so much, Jenny. So I know that we are kind of running short on time here. So I'm going to ask just one question that one more question I'm seeing a lot of, and then we're going to wrap up. So for this last question, I know that there are folks that are asking about, sorry, I just lost it for a second here. About just ensuring that there's proper access for emergency response in case there is an emergency in the Palisades or along PCH. Can we have Assistant Chief Choi maybe speak to what it's going to look like to ensure that there's going to be emergency vehicle access to the community throughout this? Or Deputy Chief Woodyard, whoever.
Sure. I think the roads within the Palisades, we'll keep that traffic moving as best as we can. And I think Caltrans would be better to speak on PCH itself. And we'll have enough units to facilitate any movement to get emergency equipment up if we need to. And we have direct communications with fire as well. If they need to get through, they can let us know in advance as well.
Thank you. And Caltrans?
Yeah, on that, Pacific Coast Highway, it's a 3-lane highway, but only 2 lanes of it are reopening tomorrow morning. That 3rd lane on the right side will be reserved for recovery personnel and emergency responders that need to get through.
So that should help expedite any needs from that. Perfect. We are right about out of time. I do want to close by just reminding folks, I know that there were some questions that folks had about and either more DWP related or things that might be better answered by some of our more environmental experts, such as LA Sanitation and Environmental Services. They were not on the call with us because this was focused on the PCH reopening and security and access. We're happy to continue to bring these leaders of our partnering departments together to ensure that we can get you these answers. If your question did not get answered on this call, please send us an email. You can go to cd11.lacity.gov and all of our staff's contact information are available, including mine. So if there's anything that you would like to get answers to that you still have questions about, please send them our way and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can. The councilwoman does wish she could have been here to help facilitate this conversation. However, she is honored and glad that we could bring everyone together to share this information with you all. The effort and work that's been put in to ensure that the PCH can reopen has been incredible. The work that's being done day in and day out by the Army Corps of Engineers and our first responders and public safety partners has been nothing short of remarkable. And the councilwoman wants to extend her thanks to all of them for their efforts, to the mayor for her leadership and support, and the governor's office for their partnership as well through all of this. I will ask if if there's anyone from our panelists that would like to say any last words before we close for today.
I think Chief Choi said it well. We are here to stay in the Palisades. We're going to make sure the community is safe. Please stay connected with the officers. Please say hi to them, and we're going to be here for the duration. So thanks for having this town hall and look forward to connecting with the community.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you and look forward to continue with the rebuild.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, everyone, for being here today. Please stay connected. Please stay engaged. And we're going to get through this together. Thank you so much.